Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain. I'm Rachel with my coffee in a new little soot sprite cup that I got from Dragon Con. I want to say the artist was Studio Pen Pen, and that's Penpen. At least that's what's stamped onto the bottom of my cup is Pen Pen. But I actually saw the stand about 2 years ago, and when I tried to look them up to try to find them again to go buy what I wanted, because I had tried to do the whole let me look at everything first and go back and buy what I wanted. Well, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Dragon Con, but the vendors area is about 4 floors of just people selling things. So there are hundreds of stalls. And so the very first time I went, I could not find it again. Then I even tried to do some research to see who they could have been. This year I found them in person and immediately bought the things that I was looking to buy. So very excited to finally have a mug that I saw a couple years ago. Now, is it the exact same one? No, but I'm still glad to have it. And it's even got little spots and stuff on the inside. It's so cute. Anyway, I love handmade coffee mugs like this. They're phenomenal. I will spend $50+ just because they have such personality. But let us dive into the first book of the day. Actually, it might be the second book that I've recorded. Who knows? But this is Christmas Spirits at Honeywell House by Sharon Booth. Now, this is Ghosts of Rowan Vale #3, and not too long ago I did do the second book in the series, which was, I want to say, Loving Spirits at the Vintage Tea Shop. So the first book is Kindred Spirits at Harling Hall, and they're all kind of what I would call feel good ghosty books. Now, they are not specifically mystery, they are not specifically horror or, spooky. There are ghosts within this town of Rowanvale, and they live in this community, I guess the way they always have. However, the person who kind of owns this particular village. It's looked on like a little Christmas card village. Um, the person who can own it is someone who can hopefully see all of the ghosts. And so it used to be passed down through the families. However, people in the family stopped being able to see the ghosts. And so the first book, I do believe, is about that person. I think her name is Sierra. I think it's Sierra. I was just reading it the other day, so yeah. But she, though she's an outsider, she can see the ghost, and so that ultimately decides that she's going to be the caretaker of this village. Now, people can live there and people can work there, but you can't have vehicles in the streets. You can't have delivery trucks like Amazon drivers riding along. This is supposed to be a living kind of tourist village, a historic village. So it's supposed to try to maintain a certain level of authenticity. So the cars can't be like all over the street, especially modern cars. The homes, they're owned by this kind of estate, but people can rent them for a fairly inexpensive price, and the estate will take care of them. So all of these different things are kind of like, and they do kind of decorate. Like, I think I want to say for the last one we were doing another event, like a Dickinsonian weekend or a Dickinson weekend, and this time we're at Christmas time. So I can only imagine the postcard quality that this little village would take on. But let's dive into the summary, because I didn't even start doing that yet. But snow is falling and festive lights are twinkling in beautiful Rowan Vale, the Codswolds' living history village where tourists mingle unknowingly with ghosts of Christmas past. When Clara first arrived in Rowan Vale to visit her boyfriend Jack, she had no idea her life was about to change forever. Now, 15 years later, she's struggling to cope with hormonal changes and 3 boisterous sons. After being a stay-at-home mom for years, Clara has the opportunity to start a new business and maybe find herself again. But when fate intervenes, all her hopes seem shattered, and her and Jack's relationship has never felt more precarious. Meanwhile, at Harling Hall, tensions are rising between resident ghosts, Agnes and Aubrey. The village, when the village hosted it's a Dickinsonian themed weekend, which I want to say, I thought that one was book 2. For Christmas, Victorian gentleman Aubrey is this one is the Dickinsonian weekend for Christmas. Okay, sorry. I just read it and I was like, didn't we just host like a themed weekend the other book? But this is a different themed weekend. I was like, wait a minute. Are we hosting the same like weekends? I don't get it. But I guess that's just what we do in this thing. But Victorian gentleman Aubrey is desperate to visit. He wants to see this village. He's such a sweet gentleman. He's also a ghost, but anyway. But Agnes is adamant they mustn't. But surely a little walk around the Christmas market wouldn't hurt, would it? While Aubrey prepares to defy Agnes, Clara's secrets is about to be revealed. She wasn't entirely honest with Jack when she first arrived in Rowan Vale, and as the years pass, it seemed to be too late to come clean, but now she doesn't have a choice. With both relationships under strain, the Christmas spirit has its work cut out for this festive season. So, I was just sitting here and I was trying to figure it out because I was like, wait. In the other book, we were preparing for a themed weekend. In Loving Spirits at the Vintage Tea Shop, we were preparing for a themed weekend. And that's why when I was reading this one, I was like, wait, we're preparing for another themed weekend? But, so I'm clicking on it because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so what they did is a 1940s themed weekend in the first one. The second one, the first one I reviewed on this channel. This one is a Dickinson themed Christmas, like I guess you can imagine like a Christmas carol. And that's why I was like, wait, that seems to be a fairly common theme in these books. And I was only just putting it together whenever I started reading it. I was like, that's why I got so confused. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I knew there was a themed weekend going on, but then I started getting confused with the other ones. So my apologies for getting all kerfuffled. But Clara is from the outside. She is not from Rowan Vale. But on a trip about 15 or 16 years ago, she met Jack and they kind of formed an instant connection. So then about 15 years ago, she decided to take a chance and move to Rowan Vale with Jack. And they really do seem to have a very cute relationship. However, when we first meet Clara at the beginning of this book, she is not having a very good, time. She is very, very frustrated with herself. She feels like she's let herself go. She doesn't feel comfortable in her body. Now, yes, she's a mother of 3 boys, but she really, she wants to start working, thinking about dieting. She just feels like things are just snowballing out of control. And she's really starting to feel just a lot of anxiety about it. She's also kind of remembering when she was younger, those 15 years ago, that she didn't tell Jack everything about, I guess, a reason for coming to Rowan Vale. Now, she, and I do worry if this is a spoiler, but if you haven't read the other 2, I think you're going to be okay. This book does release September 1st, 2025, so I'm going to be a day or 2 behind on that, but I will try my best to get it as close to that as possible, but it will be out by the time I release this episode. But, so she is still very much in love with her husband, Jack, but sorry, just a little bit of burp there. She's starting to also realize that she and her husband Jack can't own anything in this particular town, or they can't own their home. They don't really have the ability to leave much to their boys. Like, there's not much of a legacy they could potentially lead. Now they do have, like, I guess, a model village that might potentially just be theirs, that they could leave that to their sons, but the house and everything belongs to the estate of Rowan Vale. So they wouldn't be able to leave that behind. They also can't really do renovations to the house because, even if other things needed to be modernized, they're not supposed to do that because, again, it's supposed to be one of those kind of living history villages. It's supposed to stay kind of this antiquated look. But there are other things a brewing for Clara and Jack as well. And I know the summary keeps it kind of secret. I kind of want to spoil it. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? Me spoiling it. I can't ask you guys and then just like spill it, because y'all could be like, oh no, I don't want to know. But then y'all could be all like, you can just tell me, because I'm probably not gonna like read it right away, if any. But let's just dive into it. Let's just go for it. Anyway, remember how I was telling you how she was just feeling so uncomfortable in her body and all this sort of stuff? Well, we determine about 40% of the way through the book that as she goes for a dress fitting for one of these Dickinson Christmas themes, that she can't fit in her dress. And her friend is pretty much like, girl, you're pregnant. And she's like, no, I'm going through perimenopause. My weight is fluctuating, like all of this, like, and she's adamant. And it's not Sierra, it's Callie. I'm so sorry. I was like, I knew it was another C name, and that's where, anyway, Callie is kind of the owner. She's the caretaker of this Rowan Vale estate because she can see the ghost. But Callie's the one that's at the dress shop with her when they're trying on their dresses, and she's like, girl, you're not like just putting on weight, you're pregnant. And she's like, no, I'm absolutely not, this is perimenopause, my body's just changing. And lo and behold, she goes to the doctor, and guess what, she's pregnant. And so now her and her husband Jack have to figure out what to do with a new baby on the way, one that they didn't even prepare for, and she's already in her third trimester. So very short period of time to plan. And now she is also just very like, she's so very like frustrated because this is not what she was expecting at this point in her life. She thought finally she was going to be able to do something for herself, maybe take up sketching again, maybe do this, maybe do that, finally find herself after she's been a mom for so long. Well, that's what's going on with Clara. Then we have Aubrey. He is a ghost that lives at the Harling Hall. Okay, the real name is Harling, Harling, but I guess because it's haunted, they call it Howling, Howling, Howling Hall, because it's haunted. And so there's one lady who's kind of, she's a ghost, and she almost seems to be like a head ghost, and her name is Agnes. And what she seems to have done is withhold specific information from other ghosts, especially Aubrey. And he is so sweet and kind. He is really a good ghost character, but he literally seems to respect and adore Agnes. But she's keeping certain secrets from him that are preventing him from kind of like I think she thinks she's protecting them, but honestly, from an outsider's perspective, like especially me, she is unacceptably applying her own level of control over these other people. She even has these ridiculous ideas of like, I mean, okay, she's old when I say like she was probably born in like the 1800s, 1700s, or like she's old. She's an old ghost. And so for women and men to live together before marriage is blasphemous, and these women are just loose women and all this sort of stuff. And she feels like she's a lady, and yet she looks down on all of these people, and I just don't like her. I just didn't. I'm sorry. It just, but it's kind of frustrated with her a little bit. But I think I liked Vintage Tea Shop a little bit better. I will say this one kind of overall was a little bit frustrating with all the different things going on. It's more about like not communicating and misunderstandings. Like 90% of the book is just, and those are things that I guess they just rub me wrong in so many different ways about not communicating and or lies of omission when you specifically don't tell somebody something that you know they need to know, but if you don't say it, then you don't have to lie about it. But a lie of omission is still a lie. And so there's tons of those, or wanting to keep secrets because they don't know how to process them. And I'm just like, what? What? But overall, the book is actually pretty good. I still really, really like this story. I did find it surprising that this book wasn't released closer to Christmas. Releasing it September 1st, I would have wanted a book more fall themed, like let's do a fall festival or something perhaps for this book, and then maybe we come up with a Christmas one like in December. I mean, I'm not saying this author needs to write that much, like that volume of books, but I'm just saying, like, if we're going to release a book September 1st, but we're going to call it Christmas Spirits and the book is going to be Christmas themed, then maybe we could wait like 2 months and release it on November 1st as we are preparing for that Christmas season. And we're going to see all of that Christmas stuff in the stores very, very soon. Right now, I'm seeing a mixture of Halloween and Christmas galore, but I'm still in the spooky season. And this series has been really cute, but like I said, it's not like, even though there are ghosts, it's more of like cozy paranormal or something like that. There has not yet been any other paranormal activity except for these ghosts. But it's more about relationships and, again, communicating and those sorts of things. So fiction, a little bit of fantasy, depends on how you feel about ghosts, but still cozy nonetheless. But with all of that being said, I think I've rattled on quite a bit. I hope I've given you enough to decide if this is a series you may want to pursue or not. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you have not liked and subscribed already, I certainly hope you will. And I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.